All right, and we are live. We tend to say this every time we come on. So, hi everybody.
Hola,
Hi
everyone.
everybody, and welcome to Mamas with Commas. We're going to give everybody a few moments to log on. We are live. Um, hey Nicola.
Hi, how are you? You had a good week?
Doing good. I'm excited about tonight's conversation.
Yes, I
I
am
keep
too.
using the word exciting, or I'm excited, but I want to let everybody know how heartbreaking the story is, but how important it is that we share this information. Um, this is our 14th chat, healthy pregnancy, healthy birth.
Yeah.
So, yes, yes. And our special guests are joining us from the SaveARose Foundation. We have Naisha and Johanna joining us from the Bronx, New York. So we are happy to have you ladies on. The way that we're going to do tonight's chat, we want tonight's chat to be informational. I'm learning, Nick was learning. We have information to share as well from the research that we've done, and also from the fact just organic information from us being mothers and women that have birthed children. So we're going to share, but I want everybody to know that I am learning tonight. I want to hear about what Save a Rose Foundation is doing. I want to hear about Amber Rose's story, how we can help, and just how to get this message spread
hmm
to more and more people, to more and more people. So let's jump right into the conversation. This might be a long one. It may run a little bit over an hour, but we're gonna, get as much information in as possible. So let's start. Nico, let me ask you, how has your week been? Since we always say
I
this.
know. It's been a crazy week, but I'm glad to be here with you guys. It's definitely been busy with work and multiple projects I'm working on. So, but it's refreshing to be back with
It
everyone.
is. It is.
How was your week?
Absolutely. It was good. Y'all know I became a year older this
Yes,
past week. So
yes.
So happy
I
birthday.
Julia
celebrated
has
a birthday, and it was good.
you joined the 40
Yeah,
40
it was a
club.
good time. I enjoyed it. I'm in it. Yes, because I forgot to I forgot to say that. So 40/40 Club, I'm here.
Yeah,
It's an amazing thing. It's been an amazing journey. So let's introduce our ladies. So Naisha, how are you? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having us on this. We really appreciate this. We're excited to talk to y'all tonight about this.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much. What brought you to the foundation? How did you jump on board and get started with the team?
Well, I've known Amber since middle school, so you could imagine how heartbreaking this whole situation was. So it's like when Bruce had mentioned that it's like we got to do something, like, like this is for Amber, this is in the name of her, like it's that drive that you don't feel unless it happens to you. And
Mhm.
it's like I just knew that like this is something that I wanted to be involved with and to help and to really, in a sense, bring justice and make a change in the world with stuff like this, because it's just a terrible situation. And it just, there needs to be light brought onto this because it's still happening.
It's still happening.
Yes.
It's still happening. So, well, I'm so sorry. Our
Yeah.
um our heart is with you guys. I mean, ever since I came across the page and read the story, I mean, I just couldn't let it go. And when you guys responded, I was just like, yes. I was like, yes, I cannot wait to talk to them.
Yeah.
So, we will jump in here shortly and start sharing. Johanna, how did you
Hello.
join the team? What brought you to the Save a Rose Foundation?
So, like Naisha, I knew Amber for a pretty long time. Not as long as her, but we were friends pretty much during our college years. I'm still in college myself right now, but it's another conversation. But yeah, so Amber's passing was kind of like not only like heartbreaking for us, but like a call to action kind of. Like a week didn't pass before Bruce McIntyre, her partner, reached out to her closest friends and expressed how this thing that happened to Amber is so prevalent right now, and it's such an issue that he was inspired to just take action and fight against the injustice that happened, because we didn't feel like it was just her passing, we felt like it was something that could have been prevented. And
Right.
then finding out about the statistics and everything that is actually occurring, and when you do the research, it just opened our eyes so much to what felt like a world that we didn't know about, the birthing community and the fight for maternal justice. So immediately when Bruce contacted all of us, we were on board, hands on deck, all of us. And we were inspired by his leadership, and we just really are doing the work that it takes to bring this off the ground, get it running. So I'm so happy.
You guys are doing that. You guys are doing that. The articles, I mean, I think we came across an article today that just was published in the past few days. I mean, the story is still being told, the information is still being shared and updated. And, we're hanging right in there with you guys, and we're going to keep posting and keep resharing and keep spreading the word, as well as this chat tonight. So I wanted to definitely give a huge virtual big hug to Bruce McIntyre, who is, like you said, the partner of Amber Rose Isaac. I read we spoke with him, but he couldn't be on specifically tonight. There was a little bit of a mix up, but he, sent his blessing. He did repost. The chat should be streaming on his social platforms as well. But his like you said, he is the founder and the advocate for reproductive justice, and we stand behind him wholeheartedly.
Yes.
We also want to give a big virtual hug and shout out to baby Elias, that look just so cute, and he's gonna have, like Shaniqua always says, a village of us behind him and supporting him along his journey as well. So if you guys could. Gosh, it was so many little small things that you guys said, and I'm like, yes, So I want to kind of bring the biggest attention to the word preventable. Okay, because we have diseases like cancer and different things that we can't help it. It happens. We try medical different things, and it will take over the body, and sadly, it's nothing that we can do. But when we have situations that are preventable and with proper care, we don't have to be subjected to death of mothers.
Right.
We're going to speak up.
Right.
Okay. So I've already got chills. I'm feeling, I'm just like over here with these chills and stuff. Y'all work with me. If I start tearing, it's going to be all good. We're going to get through this. Let's start with specifically the story of Amber. What happened?
Naisha, do you want to start, or you want me to?
I was going to say if you wanted to.
Well, Amber, I just want to start by saying Amber was probably like one of the healthiest individuals that we knew. Anybody in her life, I feel like she would be like top 3 healthiest persons that you would know. And she was just 26 years old. So I knew her probably from like when I was 19 up until now. And saying that just says a lot, because at our age, like, we lead crazy lives full of a lot of stress. And we don't have time to really think about like what we consume, or when it comes to content, eating, and just daily habits. But she was just so on top of her mental health and her bodily, physical health and her well-being. Her life was always about being in balance, and it was always, about being healthy. She loved to live life and wanted to better the quality of her life and of the people around her as well. So when she was pregnant with Elias, it was a conscious choice, and she went into it knowing, she was very aware of her body. But during her 3rd trimester, what happened was, the coronavirus came about, and that basically raised a lot of concerns across, everybody went kind of crazy about that. But Amber was experiencing symptoms that showed that she needed a little more attention and needed to be seen by her doctors. But however, because COVID made everything, all protocols changed, especially in hospitals, she was no longer being seen in person. She was scheduled telehealth appointments. In your third trimester, in your second trimester, you should be seen every 2 to 4 weeks during your pregnancy.
Right.
And when you approach 36 weeks, you should be seeing weekly. Her high-risk appointment was pushed back to May, and her due date was May 31st. Amber, she had a low platelet count. When your platelet count hits below 125, it's already something that has to be monitored. Her count was well below that amount. She had weakness and fatigue. She had chronic headaches and shortness of breath. And all this, she expressed her concerns to her doctor, because Amber was also somebody that was very vocal and very active in her own care when it came to anything. So immediately when this happened, we all felt the same way, and we felt so strongly about it because we know her friend. And we know that she is not somebody that is ignorant to her own body, and somebody that will not stay quiet about anything, especially when it comes to her own rights. But that being said, yeah, her shortness of breath was probably her main concern. And she could usually walk half a mile daily. In her third trimester, she couldn't even make it down half the block without, running out of breath. She told her doctor these things. She still wasn't being able to be seen in person. She wasn't made aware of her platelet counts until, when it was too late, basically. But, so Amber, she passed away due to an emergency C-section, which resulted from the negligence. Because expressing your concerns when it comes to your body and not being heard, this could be the result of that, of just a simple checkup where, you tell your doctor, I feel this way. Can you check, can I see you in person? COVID made all of that more complicated for Amber and for other women in Amber's position.
Absolutely.
I'll let Naisha pick up on where I left.
Yeah, you want to add any information there, Naisha?
Yeah, just on the point of Amber's platelet levels being low. So that's considered on the high risk side of pregnancy. So the day that Amber passed actually is when she was diagnosed with a serious condition called HELLP syndrome. And basically, HELLP syndrome is something that causes problems with your blood, liver, and your blood pressure. And it can happen when you're pregnant or right after you have your baby. So HELLP is actually an acronym that is HELLP. So just to break it down a little bit, so H is hemolysis. Yeah, hemolysis. So that's just a breakdown of red blood cells. EL is elevated liver enzymes, which is when you have high levels of this indicates problems with your liver. And then LP just stands for low platelet count, which platelets help your blood clot. So having low levels of platelet can result in heavy bleeding, which was the case for Amber especially when it came for her emergency C-section.
Right.
Yeah.
So by the time that Amber was, the day that Amber's labor was induced, by that time her blood wasn't able to clot enough for her to survive something like that, which was also something that scared us too, because had Amber known or received her chart or her blood test results in a timely manner, which is just like a basic operational things within, it's administrative. So that's why it's scary, because everything trickles down. So being that she didn't receive her her blood test results in a timely fashion, that also affected the level of care that she could receive, because help is preventable and it's treatable if you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to kind of bring awareness as you guys tell the story. So I have something written down here. What are some health symptoms? What are some red flags that a pregnant woman should be, kind of mindful of when they're pregnant, specifically in that third trimester, and sharing it with their healthcare provider? I know that you guys mentioned that Amber had the shortness of breath. She had the headaches, and that is another red flag that pregnant women should look out for: acute severe headaches. Some other women have experienced preeclampsia, coughing, abdominal and gastric pain, elevated blood pressure, reflux, and coughing. So I just kind of want to bring that awareness as we kind of move through the conversation as well, so people can be aware of, what may not, am I coughing, or am I coughing too much? Or, you're like, I know I'm pregnant, my stomach might supposed to be hurting, but, these are the things that you talk to your doctor about, and you're consistent about it, and you make sure that they're checking you through blood work, physical examinations. If you're doing your teleconferencing, then you make sure you let them know, and then you say, you need to get me in, or I'm going to the emergency room.
Immediately. And don't be, this is just another thing I would say, is that don't be afraid to get a second opinion. If your doctor is not doing what they are supposed to be doing, call another doctor. Don't be afraid and say, because I've had to do that myself. You're already so far along, I don't want to switch doctors because they already know me. Listen, it's called a chart. They'll send the chart over to the other doctor, and they'll look at the chart, and then you can be seen. Don't sacrifice yourself, or don't go with your intuition. Don't second guess yourself. Go for a second opinion. I say this to anybody with anything. If you don't feel comfortable, go for a second opinion. But I understand, it's a pandemic. There's a lot going on. You're scared. You don't want to really be in the hospital because you don't want to get sick, and then you don't want to hurt the baby. So you're trusting these doctors. You know what I'm saying? So I totally get it. But it's just it's so frustrating. And I commend you ladies for your strength, because for me, I know I'd probably try to work as best as I can, but it's very frustrating without having to go off. Because it's something that could have been prevented.
Right.
Yep. And that's a big word.
Like you said, she knew her body. See, that's another thing. Stop telling me about my body.
Right.
I know my body.
Stop telling me I'm fine when I'm telling you I'm not feeling fine. And that's the big quote, you're fine. It's okay. A lot of people feel like this, but it's just like, if I don't feel, if I feel like something is out of the norm, then it's worth it for you to, take a look at it, even if it could be something very minuscule.
Right. Absolutely. I know that you guys mentioned how healthy she was, how balanced she was. I'm just feeling like, that's going to continue, in her honor and in her memory. It will continue. She's touching so many people. She's helping so many people. I know so many women. I said the other day, I said, every time I open Facebook, somebody else is pregnant. What's going on here? Everybody having babies, having them quarantine babies. But, that's why we're speaking to you guys tonight, because if it's your first pregnancy and you're unaware, or you're not sure, or you're afraid, or you're scared, you have us, and you have, the world, so many different healthcare providers, and so many different people out there, like Nicholas said, that you can speak to. Let's jump into, really quickly, did she have the traditional physician, or did she go with like a midwife, or what was her plan, her treatment plan? Do you guys know?
Well, Amber had an OBGYN, but during her last trimester, because of the whole COVID situation, she did start looking into other birthing options. So going with a midwife and a doula, and finding a birthing center where she could have a natural birth.
Okay. That's very interesting. My baby is 16 now, and I have a 21-year-old. So let's talk about the 21-year-old. So 21 years ago, having a midwife, it wasn't popular. It was kind of like, it was scary. It was like, no, I'm not having a baby in a bathtub. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm not having a baby in that little pool. But this is I'm not even going to call it a trend. I'm going to call it a new wave, because we need the support. We had a beautiful, beautiful midwife on for Mother's Day, Courtney. And she couldn't be on with us tonight because she's working this week. But it's like you guys say, this is a world that you were opened up. That's a world that I was opened up to. I didn't realize how important birthing options are, and how they shouldn't be criticized, by your loved ones if you choose to not go with the traditional, option that we all are familiar in the healthcare system. Right. So that's cool to know that she, was looking, but she was on top of it. I mean,
oh yes, she was.
We didn't know her, and we know,
Mm-hmm. Like, she was just naturally that type of person, just very self-aware, and like, also we found out that she was very aware of the high mortality rates amongst Black women when it comes to maternity. So we didn't get to be introduced to that until she passed away.
Right.
So very, very serious to us.
Right. So you want to talk about a little bit about those stats, Nikwa?
Well, I was going to say really quickly, I read in an article, and I don't know if this is, all the way true, but I read an article that she dreamt that she was going to die.
Yeah.
Like, she envisioned this ahead of time.
Yeah.
That's true?
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, we didn't know that she was like scared about it until after she passed away. So it's also like something like she just would try to be everybody's rock. So I don't think she wanted to worry anybody.
Yeah,
we were always constantly like checking in with her when it came to the whole. When it came to her last few months in her pregnancy, I remember always thinking about like, yeah, I gotta text Amber, at least once a day or something, like, because we are in quarantine right now. Like, I'm worrying about these hospitals. Like, I told her, I don't know about these hospitals. Like, be careful. All of this were things that I feel like we were addressing it, but we never would ever think that was going to happen to her, or that anything bad was going to happen. And that's the thing, we're always under the assumption that women have to come out of this, and like, we know about postpartum depression, and we know about other things that affect your pregnancy, but nobody talks about what happens, like, with mortality and morbidity. Like, what happens, it just is not a conversation that a lot of women are comfortable having when it comes to your own body and these changes that are going on. And
and to have someone like Bruce, to say, I'm gonna step up, I'm gonna tell her story, and for you guys, I'm not gonna let this story, fade away into the shadows. We're gonna make a stand, and that's how these conversations can continue, and the awareness is brought. So thank you so much, you guys, again.
And I think it's dope that he's doing it also too, because he can show their son that, this is for your mother, and it's, we're going to do this in honor of her because she loved you very much and she wanted so much to be here.
Yes.
I think that's important too, because children don't understand. Sometimes it's very hard for them to understand life as they grow older, because you don't have you don't have your parent, and then to hear she passed giving birth to you is something that I know is going to be a hard conversation to have, but I think with this foundation, it's definitely going to help for comfort for him, because it's heartbreaking to me. I only have one baby boy, he's 19 years old, and it's just they're close to their moms. You know what I mean? So it's just, but he's always gonna have her here. She's gonna be his angel. You watch. She's
Oh,
going to be there.
We've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen that for sure. Elias knows like his mom, and he feels her.
Yes.
But I feel like that's exactly why we're also involved as well, because of this child. And like you ladies said, it takes a village to raise a child. And I'm just so happy that we can show Elias that there are no limitations to like what we can do as well. Because who would have thought, how many deaths like have occurred, preventable deaths due to pregnancy, and that have not been amplified the way that Amber's story has.
Right.
So is to think about that. That's really what I thought about as well. So to think about that is just like, this is really an injustice, and who's gonna do something about it? And
Right.
there's a whole community of people that have been, but it's just, this is to show like, we felt this was just like a too big to be passed up, or to just be let fade away after a certain amount of time. She was definitely not.
Most
That's
definitely.
Because
Most definitely. And I mean, I hate to, say it like this, but I feel like because the Bronx is close to my heart, so I kind of feel like they kind of, I don't want to say shit on us, excuse my French, but I feel like that's kind of what people are trying to do, kind of like, well, they're, we'll handle them as such. And it's like, everyone should be treated equal. You know what I mean? You don't, just because I'm from the Bronx or I'm from Manhattan, you don't know who I am. You don't even know who, where I come from. You don't even know how much money I have, you're just assuming. And, and that's not fair. And even if I'm not rich, you know what I'm saying? I should, still get the same treatment as everyone else.
Yeah. Standard care.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Care.
Because
right?
if you look at other countries, some of them have free healthcare. So at least you can go to the doctor, to be seen. So it upsets me. And that's why, I feel that we need to push the button and don't let up. Like we let up sometimes. We let go and we're like, okay, they pacify us, give us a little carrot, and then we move on. No, because that carrot's not going to replace the person being here physically. So no, I'm not letting up now, because this needs to be across the board, period. And I just, it's just, it's heart-wrenching. It's just heart-wrenching to me.
It really is. It really is. Talking about some stats a little bit. So 60% of the deaths are preventable. The CDC records show that 700 moms die giving birth per year. 700. Black, brown, and Latina mothers are 3 to 4 times more likely to die than white mothers. We know why, but we don't know why.
Right.
There are a lot of variables in every individual scenario. In Amber's, there was the injustice, the care, substandard care. Then COVID. That just added on to it. In some people's situation, it could be insurance. Like Niqua said, some countries, they have free health care. In America, there's levels to that. You have Medicaid, you have your employer insurance. And I mean, I'm under the assumption that if you have Medicaid, they ask you for a reason. And if you have Medicaid, you may get substandard care.
Oh, yes.
Compared to someone with, employer insurance.
You have access to better providers and the better insurance. Just to think, prejudice pours into so many areas of our lives. So it's just like you said, Niqua, about being like shitted on from the Bronx. Certain things dictate like how people's attitudes towards you. And it's sad to think that walking into a hospital, somebody's personal prejudice and attitude towards people like me will affect whether I'm going to die today or not. It's just not okay. It's very extreme to put it that way, but that's the difference. Like,
no, you hit it on the head. And this is a tough conversation that we have to have. You know, it's one thing to have the conversation about the police brutality. You know, it's always in question of, well, what did they do? Did they deserve it? Did they run? Did they this? Did they that? Did they pull a gun? Did they have a stick? You know, but a pregnant mother,
what is she
walking
gonna
into
do?
a hospital.
Oh no, it's how did you get, like, are you married? What's your educational status? Do you have money to take care of your child? If you're gonna collect WIC, like, they're already looking at you, like certain things like that. And it's sad because whose fault is it to, what position we are in right now, or even how other people perceive it, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
I'm a birthing person. I'm going to give life. And if we want to talk about other technical parts about that, like, that brings money into this economy. So to put it in those terms, like, things like that, put it into perspective and show you, like, I deserve to be treated better because, you're charging me to give birth at this hospital and you're not taking care of me. Like, why am I paying for substandard care, even if it's covered by insurance that is not the best?
Right.
Nico, you mentioned earlier we talked, and you had such a good point about the insurance. And I'll just, when you mentioned that no matter what type of insurance a person has, I'm covered. I think that's what you said.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me. You're getting paid regardless, right? You have insurance. You're covered. You are covered. It's not like you're not coming in there without insurance. I have insurance because that's the biggest thing in America. Well, you're not covered. So, sign this piece of paper. Let me see what we can do. No, I have insurance. So you need to do what you need to do because I'm covered and I'm paying for it. Whether I have Medicaid or not, you're getting paid. See, the problem is that medical is a business.
Yep.
And they're making so much money off of it that they rather not deal with a certain type of insurance because it's not going to pay them what they feel they deserve. When it's a balance, you're getting all types of insurance. So you're getting paid regardless. You're covered and you should do your job. If that's not what you want to do, then don't go into a field where you have to save lives because you're playing with people's livelihoods.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's not fair. And to me, that's disrespectful, to be honest with you. You're disrespecting the craft and the people who do care. Like, get out of the way and put people in there who's actually going to do the job and actually care. When you go to sign in to check into the hospital, some of those ladies at the front desk are very rude, very nasty. They ask the stupidest questions. Okay. It's the same thing. It's on a piece of paper. Here's all the information. What else do you need? You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting ready to have a baby. Do I really got to sit here while I'm in freaking pain, having contractions, to sit here and explain to you about a damn document? Yeah. Okay. I know when I had one of my babies, they were like wanting me to, I'm having a contraction. They want me to sign a piece of paper. Lady, like, are you serious? My husband is over here. Just go talk to him. What the hell are you doing over here? I'm over here like, I don't know. It's just, I think what happens is they get into a routine and they don't have compassion anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. But that's just so sad. Like, it's like, why is this field like sucking the life out of like everybody that is in it? Because we got to consider, the med students too, and like how difficult and expensive like med school is here in this country, but also understand that the medical field is like mostly white in this country. Wow. That's something to consider. And also like the stress that they go under, I feel like makes them like more mechanical than anything. And they don't think about like people as like life.
Right.
Or a lot of them, or even just even if they do, like just like hospitals and the way that they function right now, because it's a business, is not efficient for anybody that's working in it. So they're probably boggled down with a million patients, or I don't know, something is going on, when it comes to their end, that is not allowing them to treat people or certain people in a more humanistic way.
Yes, you're definitely right. And you hit a good point. we don't have enough people that understand our bodies. Our bodies. You see what I'm saying? Because when you look back in history, they thought that we can endure pain without medication.
Oh yes.
We were experimental. You know, they felt like we were stronger than other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So we suffered so much, you know?
Gynecology was basically experiments for gynecologists were done on early experiments were done on slave women.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you can even look up the images and you'll see like the only person in the room, a very powerful post I saw, because we do a lot of, Naisha handles a lot of administrative and like Bruce's schedule and stuff. And we also take part in doing our social media, like, you know, spreading awareness through our Instagram page. Come across so many powerful posts that say, you know, in these images where you see these women being experimented on, like depicted, like they're the only ones in the room without shoes, and like they're in a room full of white older men who are trying to find out, you know, how to treat women, you know, of higher class. You know, you're being experimented on, but it's to find out how we can care for this type of woman in society. Not you. You're just, your body is good for us to test out, but it's not good enough for us to, you know, value you as a life that's you know, consider your life valuable.
Right. Exactly.
Thank you so much for that point. Thank you so much. I want to speak to it in a couple of different ways. I want to bring attention to, you know, that I know we spent a lot of time talking about this affecting people that may have Medicaid, or, you know, that may live in lower income, but it also happens to celebrities as well. And just to mention a couple, Serena Williams, she had a really rough birth as well. She sustained a pulmonary embolism. I'm like you, Naija. I'm trying to get word that caused her a C-section wound, and she was basically put at risk when she gave birth to her daughter. A few other celebrities that experienced scary births with Beyonce, Kim Kardashian West, Chrissy Teigen, Kate Hudson, Cardi B, all of those women. We know those names, and they have experienced difficulty even with their level of, you know, they have money, you know. So those doctors need to understand. And in my research for this conversation, I came across updated medical files. It looks like it was maybe updated for educational purposes, but it added high-risk symptoms. It was new. It added high-risk symptoms and procedures that doctors should begin to follow to make sure they're crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's when they're caring for pregnant women. So even now, I think with the noise that we're making some noise, ladies. And, you know, we're going to start seeing changes. One big change, I'm going to say it again, with the midwife and the doula. Even if it's a doula that's going to support you with the traditional OB/GYN, you know, have someone that knows you, that's going to listen to you, that's going to advocate for you. When you're in pain, I know that pain. And when you're in pain and you can't speak and you can't talk and you can't get your point across, you have someone there that's advocating for you. Let's see.
And also that person that's advocating, make sure that you got to have an extra pair of eyes, because see, you're not really like, even your husband or your significant other, they're in tune with you. You need someone else, even if you're not even in the room and you're outside and you're listening and you know what's going on. And you're like, oh no, this is not right. This is not what's going to happen. And you can communicate so they know that you have a team. Because I think sometimes too, when they know who's what and what's going on, and they kind of maneuver in that fashion, I think. But I think that would help a little bit as well, having a team, you know.
I would agree with that.
I definitely, now with all of this going on, I definitely would recommend a midwife. Even if you're not having a home birth, have the midwife come to the hospital. The midwife is trained. They know what's going on. They know the woman's body. And that gives them time to get to know you and your body. And they can and then turn and talk to them, the medical team, and let them know what needs to be done or what she's not going to want or whatever the case may be. But there's someone there that has that knowledge and can kind of see that something's not right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And they serve as like a buffer between you and the hospital. So like it'll like from, even if everybody is in their, taking care of you in your best interest, like it'll still like safeguard you from situations where you can fall through the cracks. Because like a lot of the time, especially with COVID, like people are running crazy and rampant in hospitals as far as we are told. And this is allowing like people to compromise their care, and that will be the case no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamila, she had a good point. I'm just going to flow over here. First, I want to say hey to everybody who has commented. Continue to comment, continue to ask questions. We did let the ladies know that you guys may have questions that we can ask them. So you can put that in the comments over here, and we'll definitely add you to our chat. That's why we're live. We want to connect with you guys. So Jamila said that those things are still affecting us today. And she's talking about the experiments that were ran. Mm-hmm. Doctors don't believe Black and brown birthing people when we say that we're in pain. Mm. Okay. Yes. She also let us know birth is business, especially in hospitals. I have a personal story to that recently. It doesn't have to do with pregnancy, but I was at an appointment, and the doctor was going over some different options for me. And she said, well, this is an option that you can do, but, the option basically, it was less invasive. The turnaround time, the healing time was minimal. It was like way better than what was the alternative. And she said, yep, that's taking over our business. It's taking all of our business, comparing it to another procedure. And I'm sitting in there with my skirt, with my, drape on it. I'm like, what are you saying? What are you really saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh man, I gotta go. I have got to go. That's when it hit me that this is a business.
Yeah.
And this lady that I've been seeing for years, where I put my life, I'm responsible for a lot of little people. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I put my life in her hands to some degree, and for her to kind of come at me like that, because we're cool. I've known her for years, but I was just like, whoa. Yeah. And then also over in the comments, everyone deserves a standard level of care. And that's absolutely, absolutely true. We came across another kind of like statement that death rates are higher in New York City than any other major city. What's you guys' feedback on that? When it comes to birth deaths
here in New York City, we feel like New York City is a progressive city. Like it shouldn't be that this is the city here with one of the highest mortality rate amongst women. We feel like it's mostly due to class status as well, and most of the women that are suffering these this injustice, they're usually in a place where it's either the insurance or either it's just it's also like, I feel like where you're from, like your neighborhood, your borough, where you're going has a lot to do.
If they care about you or not,
I agree with that, man, because you're talking about celebrities. I remember when Beyonce had Blue Ivy in the city, man, and she shut the whole floor down. And the other mothers were pissed because they're like, listen, I'm having my baby too. You know what I mean? I understand that you want to be secluded, but to shut the whole floor down, just, because no disrespect to her, but I'm just saying, it should be equal to fair for everyone,
yes.
And it's a baby. Like, you're giving birth to a new baby. Like, who doesn't want to have a nice for a child? Like, everybody should, everybody should be compassionate to women who are giving birth. That's like, that's, but like, to just go back to what I said earlier, coming from the Bronx, we get a bad rap on a lot of things. And I remember leaving New York City and coming to Virginia, and people would say to me, oh, you come from a city that's concrete. You come from a city with no trees, or, all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's like, well, no, we actually have trees. It's just that, there's big buildings and things of that nature. Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? And so I could see how,
Dehumanizing you.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
Just
dehumanize you.
Where I'm from, and I'm like, listen, the Bronx, I mean, I might be, because I'm from the Bronx, but it's one of the best boroughs. I mean, every borough, even Brooklyn, Manhattan, every borough has their area.
Right.
Even cities, they all have their different areas. But when it comes to health and being sick and going to the hospital, I feel like it should be equal, because you're in a point where you need help. It's not like you're trying to hurt anybody. You're not trying to take anything from anybody. You're just trying to get what you deserve.
And to have to even say that is crazy. To have to even like say that, everybody deserves quality care.
Mm-hmm.
Every woman deserves equal access to maternal, to birthing options.
Right.
Why do we have to say that? That should be something that's already, understood.
I'm like you ladies. I'm not saying I was blind to it, but I didn't think it was this serious.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't.
Yeah.
21 years ago, when I got pregnant, my sister had just given birth to her son. So I kind of watched her experience. And I would say, like Amber, I was very aware. I had gone completely, I was a vegetarian. I knew that I had to find I knew I wasn't supposed to just accept. Okay. I knew I wasn't supposed to accept. I knew I was supposed to go find the best of the best for me. So I was referred, my sister referred me to her doctor, who was absolutely amazing. And I was speaking with Nikwa earlier just about my personal experience. And I was like, if it wasn't for that referral, I don't know what I would have done.
Right.
When I went into that office, they played, it was gospel music, or very, soothing and uplifting music every single time I went in there. Her doctor, I didn't see, but I ended up seeing a female. He was a man, which I was afraid of. I was like, oh my God, because I was a young mom. I was like 18, 19. I was like, oh, this man, whatever. But I trusted my sister. But I was given to another doctor that I think she had just come on board, and she was just phenomenal. She delivered both of my kids, and she was amazing. I felt like she was like my second mom, and that's how it should feel. It should, when you go in, it should be warm. They should be listening. It should feel like they care, and it should radiate with your relationship with them.
Yeah. A relationship with your doctor is very important. That's also something that ties back into what you ladies spoke about when it comes to insurance. In these low income neighborhoods, a lot of people have, government assisted healthcare, and they don't have access to the best providers in the network. And if they do, sometimes, some people don't even see a fixed doctor, so they don't have a relationship with any doctor. They're just used to going to the doctor when something hurts. So like opening the conversation for people that might be on government assisted care, or just anybody really, like just to raise this awareness about being involved in your own care, being aware of what your relationship with your doctor should be. Especially a person that's supposed to be monitoring your health like through an extended period of your life.
Right.
Absolutely.
And don't if you I'm gonna continue to say this. If you feel, go with your intuition, ladies. I'm telling you from experience. I got burnt every time I didn't listen to my intuition. If you do not feel right, don't go through with it. Go get a second opinion. Go ask somebody. I don't even care. I mean, if you got to go all the way to freaking Long Island, okay, figure out how. I mean, go there, do whatever you got to do, because these people. I hate to say these people, but they don't really care about you. You're just a number.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take your life back. And if you look at just what's going on in the world today, if we just take a look There are things that are blatantly being done to us in front of us, and they're basically saying, and what are you going to do about it?
Right.
So at this point, we got to stick together, and we got to help each other, and we got to keep the network going, and we got to, just like, you know, Toya was referred to a doctor that was good. That's what we need to do.
I need to do more of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to give those doctors that are doing their job the props, and we need to give them the business. And see, what happens is when you start doing that, and these other situations, these other institutions are not getting what they think they deserve, then they'll start second guessing because they're getting money taken away from them.
Yep.
And we don't realize the power that we have. We spend the money. We're the ones with the money, even though we're struggling. But it's because we know how to make things work. We know how to make nothing out of something.
Yes.
And make it look good. Okay. So we just need to take our power back. We have lost our power. We need to take it back, especially as females. I think the problem is that we feel, you know, we always have to be the shield, and people always say, you know, they wonder why, you know, oh, well, you always have an attitude, and it's like, I don't always have an attitude, but I'm always having to take care of myself. I got to defend myself, you know, against men, women, you know what I'm saying? And it, you know, we have to do what we have to do. We're not just going to sit here and accept certain things. And so I would say that's the one thing I would say is that, you know, we have to take our power back, ladies, and we know our bodies. Don't let no one tell you about your body. You know your body. You're living in your body. You know what's going on. You know how you feel. You know what it feels like. You know when you eat something, it ain't sitting right.
Yeah.
So you know that. And even if this is something good to do too, if you have a journal, let's say you're going through something and you have a journal, keep track of the symptoms, keep track so that when you do go to the doctor and you present that information, and if they're testy about it or they're trying to second guess what you have on a piece of paper, go to someone else. It's not worth it. If you got to fight with a doctor to tell them how you feel, or you got to tell the doctor how to diagnose you, you need another doctor.
Yeah. On Black and White, I came across providers giving less accurate diagnosis. So they're not even diagnosing you properly. So what do? You get a second opinion.
Yes.
You know, you look at your insurance card, you flip it over, you call that number on the back, and you ask that customer service representative, can you tell me who else is in this network? And like Miko said, even if you got to ride the train an hour out, because that's what I did in many of situations with life. And when it came to my kids, I had to go across the way because I did have Medicaid. I was in that WIC office. I know that life. You know?
And you don't want to say,
you
like,
just
you don't want to say that. You know, but it's kind of like the reality. If you are around a lot of women, and of course, if you are in that situation, you're around a lot of women in the same situation, and you just see it. Like, you see it in yourself, but you see it so many times that you're just like, yeah, this is how it is. Like, if you are under these circumstances, like, oh, forget it. Get out of the Bronx. Do not give birth in the Bronx. That's what a lot of women will tell you too. Do not give birth in the Bronx. And this is like, I'm young. Like, we're young women. And that's why I love the fact that we're having this conversation as well, because it kind of like bridges the gap between not only like generations. And I feel like that's why also these things have gone, like, you know, they sweep it under the rug so much because it's so easy to, because young women are scared. Even if you're birthing, young women are scared to say, I'm scared to get birth. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. My body's, you know, going through these things financially. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, all of these things, like when we, you know, across different generations, across different professions, address these issues and make them a community issue and not just an issue of a professional. So just because you're not in the medical field doesn't mean that you don't have the right to care, to do your research, and to advocate for women, even if you're not a woman that has a child yet. But it's just, let's prepare women. Let's make them more prepared, like as prepared as you can be. If you're not going to be able to plan your pregnancy, because that's a luxury for a lot of women or people, we're not going to be able to do that. At least know what your options are when, you know, that time comes for you, and know what are the what's the possibilities and what are the possible outcomes and what you can do to take control and take your life back, like you ladies are saying.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your point. You guys are so bright. You guys are so amazing. Thank y'all so much. I just want to kind of just bring this to the forefront while we're on this subject, that when you get pregnant at such a young age, 16, 17, 18, it's always like, you catch it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's from your mama, your daddy, your family members, they're like, you got pregnant. Oh Lord. And you never know the right time to have a baby, to get pregnant. Even when you're older and you get out in the world, you're in your 20s and you're dating, you're like, you find this man, you're like, it's so much going on. Yes. It's so many decisions that need to be made. It's so many support systems that you need to strengthen, that the least we can do is know that we are going to survive the birth, that we are going to receive a standard level of care, equality across the board, without having to be, I'm going to say, like, be treated, I'm going to say racism, but prejudice brought against us. Yeah. Without prejudice brought against us, because we're going to experience it in so many other areas, right. Like when you're a young mom. Right. So hopefully I got that point out and across. It's just so near and dear to me. I just want to try to make sure I'm saying every point here. Let me bring some attention to a partner of you guys. Okay. So the Birthing PlaceBx. Yes. We shared their link, and they have they're raising money. Is that correct? Raising money for the center that's coming soon. So you guys, if you're watching, if you share the link, you can donate. Together we can change the course of maternity care in NYC. Yes. That's their little slogan under Birthing PlaceBx, founded by Myla Flores, who has been working in the industry, I think it was for 14 years. So can you guys give us any feedback on the Birthing Place or what their mission is? I know you guys are working the foundation is working as a partner with them.
Yeah, we're also working as well with Myla. We're also working with Nubia Martin from Birth from the Earth. So we're trying to get a birthing center to the Bronx, since the Bronx has the highest C-section rate in New York City. Mm. So right now we're currently just trying to find like a good location and raise some money through donations to get that set up. Right now we're also working with members of Congress and legislators to make midwifery care and doula services more affordable and accessible to unprivileged families, and to introduce better birthing options. We also are working to dismantle the systematic flaws from within the healthcare system.
We lost them.
She totally froze. Oh, there you go. She froze up a little bit.
Are we good?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us, Tori?
Yep. So now you should. I think we broke off where you said you're working with legislation. So if you could just kind of circle back around to that and just make that point.
Yeah, we're working with members of Congress and legislators to make midwifery care and doula services more affordable and accessible to unprivileged families, and to introduce better birthing options for mothers. So we're really trying to invest in this because we really feel like this is something that is really important, especially having a birthing place, a birthing center.
Mm-hmm. Also in New York City, there existed only 2 birthing centers, and they were both in Brooklyn. So being that the Bronx had the highest C-section rate in the whole city, it's very important that we have something like a birthing center in the Bronx. It's very important that we have a lot of things in the Bronx, but that specifically, I feel like this metaphor symbolically and quite literally brings so much change and life and better the quality of life for the babies and for the women that are giving birth too, because
Yes.
nobody wants to be more traumatized than going through the pain of labor. So on top of all of that, working with Birthing PlaceBX and Birth from the Earth is all about raising awareness about to this issue, and mainly our main goal is really to have this birthing place up. So the website is
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and we, Nico and I, y'all cut them strings. If we can't be there in person, we're gonna be there virtually. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing. You guys just keep pushing forward. We're gonna keep pushing on our end, sharing the information, sharing the links. You think we were in the Bronx with y'all? So many of our shows revolve around things that are happening or up and coming in the Bronx. You know, there's the hip hop museum that they're working on up there. Yeah, so you know, we're well connected with them. We're just waiting for so much explosion and, like you said, so much life just to, you know, reinvent and come to the Bronx and, you know, and just make a stamp. I mean, you guys are there doing your thing. So, you know, it's up to those congressmen and the government to support you guys, for us community leaders and community folks to come together and to just go ahead and start, you know, making change, making things happen.
Go ahead. Well, one thing I wanted to just ask really quickly, what are some of the things that we can do to support you guys? Like, you guys are reaching out to Congress. Is there a number that we can call to kind of push what you guys have already started, to kind of fill the fire and say, hey, you know, we're calling to support, you know, SaveARose Foundation and the Birthing Center, and, like, you know, some of those tools that we can do to help you guys out?
Well, as for right now, you can follow us on social media, our social media platforms. We will keep everybody informed about community engagements and events that we will have planned in the future. On the 25th, we have the Thousands Women's March, I believe. We're going to help lead that. So basically just following us through our social media platforms, also donating to the Birthing PlaceBX, following our partnering organizations and staying in tune with everything that we're doing will basically help us amplify, you know, this cause and continue to, like, see it grow, because we're already so amazed at what has been done so far, and the fact that we're just beginning now. It's so inspiring to all of us. So just following us, and we are definitely working on future events, and we keep people informed about the issue, not just about what we're doing, but just like generally we post a lot of facts and statistics that have to do with maternal mortality and morbidity, and post about national days like National Breastfeeding Week, things like that. Just keeping informed, and that's what
do you guys I couldn't have made it without my What to Expect with When You're Expecting book, and now it's like we have, you know, social platforms like you guys where we can go and get the facts, the statistics, the tips, and it's just so helpful. I want to remind everybody that this is a brand new story. This is a fresh story. This happened in April. What was it? Was it April or May of this year?
April of this year.
April of this year. So, you know, this isn't something that happened 2-3 years ago or even last year. This just happened this year.
And it's still happening.
It's still happening. And it's not just in the US. I wanted to bring that point. It's a worldwide issue. You can literally follow my son yelled at me the other day because I follow hashtags, but I was like, hey, I need to be informed here. I follow like locations, but if you follow simply like mortality, maternal mortality, that hashtag, in addition to the SaveARose Foundation and the Birthing PlaceBX, the information that is out there and the stories that are shared is just like overwhelming. It's completely overwhelming. And what we're going to do on our JourneyRight page is also share and repost that information, just to continue the conversation and continue the education. I read that when Amber, I guess before she went into the hospital, she had a tweet. And the tweet was that when she comes out, she's going to tell her story. She's going to share the negligence.
Yes.
And we lost her, but we're going to continue to share her story for her.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for being on tonight. We truly, truly appreciate it. Our hearts again are with you. We're so, so sorry for your loss of your friend. The story, you know, when we read it, we were like, wow. So it is touching everyone. It's touching everyone. And thank y'all again. I know Nico mentioned earlier, but thank you so much for your strength.
Yes.
Really,
It's
really.
definitely something I admire, because I don't know if I would be able to do it without being so angry. You know what I mean? Like, it for me, it would take me a minute, because I listen, you know, because my friends and my family are very dear to me. So, you know, that it just, I don't know, it would be hard. It would be hard for me. So I do appreciate, your strength and pushing forward and sharing her story, and being there for her son, and sharing, because it's important for him to know the stories that you guys have shared with us. Just how his mother was, and how you guys met, and the friendship, what she meant to you guys. That's a lot of that means a lot, and for the children, so they can have that information, and hold it dear to his heart, and things of that nature. Is definitely he's blessed to have you guys. You guys are that village that I speak about all the time. And I think that we need to do more of that. I think as women, we need to support each other more. We need to stop being petty and really support each other. We need to have each other's back, because no matter what we look like, what background, we are women, and we do, we give birth. Okay. We have babies. So it's definitely something that we need to just stick together on. And I just wanted to ask you ladies, is there anything that you would like people to know about Amber, like as overall, like her as a person, just so they can have an idea of who she was, and why you're so passionate on sticking by this movement and pushing through, because like Toya has said earlier, a lot of people always question, well, what did she do, like what didn't she know, or things of that nature. So you guys, as being her friends and pushing through and supporting, what are some of the what would you like everyone to know about her as a person, because so many other people are going to have their own opinion, but you guys knew the best.
Well, for me, Amber was always like a big sister kind of figure for me. And she's always the one that like I'd go to for information, and like she's always the one like taking care of me. So it's like she was more like the mother figure in the group, and she was the one that allowed you to lean on her, and like you would never really hear problems she'd go through unless like you asked. She wouldn't come to you with her problems. And like that was something that I admired about Amber, but I also wish that she was more open, because it makes me think like maybe there was stuff about her pregnancy, if I knew more, like I could have helped. And it just sucks to know like someone that we viewed as such like a motherly figure, and who was so caring about all of us, like, and she was always so on top of things. It just blows my mind that something like this could have happened to her. So I just know that it's like this is something that was not in fault of Amber. Like she did everything that she could. She was learning about everything that she needed to know to be a mother. She was preparing herself. She was educating herself constantly. So it's just like, this is why this whole us trying to start this foundation and spread the word about this, because this is a serious thing. Like it can happen to anyone. Like you can be educated, you can know what's going on, be on top of things, but it's just like there needs to be a change in the system, and we just really want to make that change.
Thank you so much. Johanna?
Yeah. Well, Amber, she was your typical girl in your 20s. She loved art. She likes spirituality and self-care, and she often would express these things. Her anything in her life, like her social media was just representative of the artistic person that she was. And art played a big role in her life, and therapy played a big role in her life. She was like our little therapist. Like we would, she should have charged us how much we used.
Yeah.
But she got her bachelor's in psychology in May 2018. She wanted to introduce art therapy to the youth of the Bronx. The Bronx was important to her. Me and her always had conversations about the Bronx, and it always like was me yelling about like things I was angry about, people always trying to play us and things like that. She had the same sentiments, but always intellectual conversations and always looking for solutions for these big problems. Like we were always talking about the bigger picture. Maternal mortality was not on our plate or on our minds, but this has been proven to be another issue that is a big deal in our communities, and her life is unfortunately like an example of that.
Yeah.
So we just want to be an extension of Amber and of her life's work. We feel like her life was not finished, and it's not.
Right.
And the power of this movement, like, it's just like shows how powerful Amber was, how powerful and important she was in our lives. So we just want people to feel the importance of maternal mortality, but also feel and use Amber as like our poster child. Like she was an educated woman, she was about to get her master's. She did everything by the book, but also was a trailblazer. These are the type of women that could be subject to this type of injustice. And
Absolutely.
you don't want somebody, your sister, your cousin, your friend, a young woman that had her whole life ahead of her. You don't want that sort of thing to happen so much right now. It's important that we do something about it and raise our voices.
Thank you so much. And you guys are being heard. We actually received a call earlier today from someone we wasn't expecting that has heard of you guys, that said, I'm going to tune in from the West Coast. Right,
Yes.
Nico? So
Yes.
you guys are being heard. So keep pushing. I know
Yes.
sometimes when you're in your little room or you're sitting in front of a little laptop and you're tapping away, you're like, gosh, are people hearing me? You know, like, you're being heard. So keep
Yes.
pushing. Keep
Yeah.
pushing.
And
you are being heard.
We're going to keep pushing on our end. Like Toya said, we were really passionate about this. And, you know, we're going to continue to work through our network because like I said earlier to you ladies, it takes a village. So we're definitely going to share the information. You know, I'm going to share it with my family in the Bronx. I'm going to share it with my family, you know, that are in Jersey who, you know, have moved out of the Bronx, but they're close. You know, all my, you know, connections there, you know, and make sure that, you know, you guys get the support and anything that you guys need from us. We got you, girls.
Thank you so much for letting me on your platform as well.
So much.
Yes.
Absolutely. Y'all, you guys, I mean, you're well spoken. You got that point out there. This has been just an amazing, amazing time. And thank you so much for sharing your personal story. We love you guys.
Yes.
Keep pushing.
Virtual
we
hugs.
will stay in touch with you. Absolutely. Virtual hugs. And thank you everybody that tuned in. I went live right before, I posted a video right before we went live, reminding you guys to share this message. And this message is not in vain. I know so many people right now that are pregnant with their first baby, and I know they're scared. Mm-hmm. And this will help give them some motivation and some courage and some knowledge, so that they can push through and be strong mamas and make a difference.
Yes.
We wish you guys well. We'll be in touch with y'all. SaveARose Foundation, the Birthing PlaceBx, we will continue to share the information with our network. Okay, you guys have a lovely, lovely evening. We'll be in touch with you soon, okay?
All right, you as well. Thank you so much.
You as well.
Bye, Johanna. Bye, Naisha.
Bye.
Oh, wow. So, everybody, we're going to do a little closing here like we normally do.
Yes.
Nico, is your sound okay there?
Yeah. Good.
Okay. We, we we're so honored to have joined with the SaveARose Foundation this evening to bring Amber's story to you guys and to continue the fight. Um, please don't disregard the posts. If you can donate, please donate. Please share. If you can't donate, if you share it, maybe someone else can. If you're in the New York area, follow them on social media. And if you can attend the events, please support these folks. They are so strong and so amazing. And it's such a hard story and a heartbreaking story, but they are really pushing through. So
yes, it's definitely they are you can feel the compassion and love that they have for their friend. I got a little choked up there just because I can feel it, what they went through, and I know they kept saying, "Oh, if we knew, only if we just thought, or we could have, and so I know it hurts. But I feel that this is going to help them kind of help them get through it, but it's never going to go away, but it'll help them get through it to kind of continue the legacy. She sounds, like a wonderful person that I think that, had she made it through, she would have definitely been a advocate on the front lines, pushing through, working with women like herself, working with children. She loved the Bronx and wanted to get back to her community. And it's unfortunate that it's people who are like that, that have that ability. And I call it a gift because, not everybody is that compassionate and can do that and work with the community and give back with empathy, and without getting anything back in return. Some people do it for
exactly.
notoriety or wanting something in return or whatever the case may be. But I feel she definitely would have been a big impact, but she's going to be, her friends are going to continue that on for her. And her, her son to come up as well. So I'm glad we had this conversation. I know Tony and I have been talking about this for a while, that we've been wanting to talk about this. Even I think it was back in April when we first heard the story. So I'm glad we had this conversation. I'm glad that, we put it out there. We're going to share the information. I feel like, now that we have more and more people that are talking about it, we have resources that we're starting to build from the ground up that we need to support. And I'm going to end on this part here. We don't support each other. And we need to support each other. And in the sense that we would support Gucci, Fendi, all of these other designers that we love to buy and spend money on and things of that nature. I feel like we should be able to support, these communities, these local, foundations in these communities that are actually impacting and doing something. They need the funding a lot of times, and things of that nature. They're lacking those things, so it's hard for them to kind of push forward, but they're continuing to do it. I really feel they're definitely going to get what they deserve as far as, uplifting that foundation and things of that nature. But I just feel that, we need to be more inclined to help each other, uplift in these communities, and support those organizations who are actually on the front lines, living in the communities, going to the politicians, putting in that work. Sometimes they get overlooked, and I don't want to say sometimes they get overlooked. They get overlooked, and they don't get the support. Sometimes they may just need a hug. They may just need somebody to just say, "Hey, just take a break. Just take a break. I'll do this for you," or talk to me, and or whatever it is. But I just feel like we need to have that support, be that support.
Right. On the level, on the conversation of support. I mean, it spread like wildfire. The fly that landed on Pence's head last night.
Okay.
So, it's like the most, it was funny, it was funny. We all got laughs and jokes out of it, But just how that spread like wildfire, these important issues need to be shared, and it needs to spread at the same rapid pace and reach people that can help the turnover and make the difference. Nico said it, we need to support each other. All the fun and games, I love it. I'm the loudest laugher in the room. I love a good joke, but serious times calls for serious measures. And, here on Mommas with Commas, we have a lot of fun. But one of our missions is to bring a variety of different hot topics, as we call them, to the forefront. Today, I don't want to talk about, what alcoholic beverage I'm going to have tonight, or the purse I'm going to buy, next week, or the car I want to go, or, the issues, how to make change and make a difference in the world is what we want to bring to the forefront, and continue those conversations. So, again, to just bring this full circle, this happened in April. I think May was Mother's Day this year. And we were doing Mommas with Commas through this time. Our Mommas with Commas special, Mother's Day special, we had Courtney on, and she talked about her profession as a midwife, and we touched on the subject. And for it to be, October, and for us to have them on, where, back then this had just happened, and we had heard the story because we wanted somebody to come on to discuss options for moms for Mother's Day. So we are serious about this, and we are connected, and we will continue the conversation and continue to spread the awareness. And we appreciate if you guys would join us. Let me see here. Is there anything else that we want to add? Oh, don't allow for the news media to tell you what's important. So I think right now we have the same kind of storylines on the news, but there are a lot of other things going on, and it's a lot of other things that we can give our attention to bring positive change to. So I think that's another mission of ours, Nico and I, with having our special guests on. So thank you guys for tuning in. We love you guys dearly. It's October. We do have a few more shows planned maybe 2-3 more shows planned before the end of the year. It's been so busy. Yeah, but we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it rolling, keep it moving. And thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. We love y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, have a good
We'll
weekend.
talk to you soon. Stay tuned, guys.